This video is brought to you by Straight Goods News, Canada's alternative online news source. Visit straightgoods.ca.
We met with Senator John Kerry's office, and do I think we changed minds? I don't know. We had some really frank discussions. I think the most amazing thing to me was when a couple of congressmen looked me in the eye and said, "So you're telling me that in Canada there are people who have a different opinion about this?" And the fact that they didn't know was astounding to me. So it was a really good connection just to connect with them and talk about different points of view on Keystone, on the oil sands, but also we did talk about energy efficiency and job creation through that. We did talk about renewables and job creation through a green energy future. It was pretty good.
These are Democrats who would be in tune with you anyways, right?
Well, we met with some incredible Democrats, for example, proponents of the drafters of the Clean Energy Act for the U.S. So it was definitely folks who are on our page, who have concerns, who want to know what the issues are.
Now, while you were away again today,
Yeah.
You're being accused, you and Mr. Gravel, of killing jobs. Address the job question.
I would say we were there standing up for jobs. This pipeline, the numbers that they're throwing around are not accurate. I mean, even the National Energy Board, in a ruling about Keystone, said these are short-term jobs, they will have no long-term impact on the communities around the pipeline, and there's no long-term plan for jobs here. So I think we were there standing up for jobs because what we need to do, the oil sands is an incredibly precious resource. So let's use it wisely. Let's leverage what we have in Canada to think about our long-term energy future, our long-term green energy future. So this is about job creation. I think you can use the non-renewable resources that we have to actually think about the long term and think about how to use them in concert with renewables. So this is about standing up for jobs.
But just to be clear,
Yeah.
now with the new route in Nebraska,
Yeah.
around the aquifer,
Yeah.
were you still there campaigning to actually kill the pipeline?
I wasn't there to campaign to kill the pipeline. I was there to talk to congressmen and senators about what the other side of the story is here in Canada. When it comes to the rerouting, I had a lot of questions about that, and I learned quite a bit. And they were saying to me that the rerouting won't have much impact because what Obama said was there needs to be a new environmental review. It needs to take into account things like climate change, and that sort of supersedes whatever's happening with the proposed new route. So my understanding, taking from what I learned yesterday, is there still will be another environmental assessment.
There is some confusion. I mean, you personally are opposed to the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
People have characterized it as you going down and to lobby against it. I mean, how would you put it in your words? Like, what were you there to try to accomplish?
I was there trying to accomplish the job that the Conservatives are not doing. I was there to talk to U.S. legislators about our green energy future as two countries and how we can work together on that. Americans have very serious environmental concerns about the Harper inaction on environment, and I do believe that the Keystone decision is a result of that. Same with what happened in Europe when it came to the fuel directive. The European Commission said, you know what, Canada, if we're buying your oil, there's going to be a carbon penalty on it because we're not taking action here. So it was a good opportunity to talk about the fact that there are people in Canada who want to see federal regulation of the oil sands, who want to see a climate plan for our country. We talked about that quite a bit, and who also want to see us use this, as I said earlier, use this precious resource to transition to a green economy.
And did anyone at any point ask you, well, what do you think, should we go through this pipeline or not? And if so, what did you answer?
You know what? Nobody asked me that because it is their decision, right? I mean, they're not going to ask me what they should do.
So you didn't advise on that one?
Oh my gosh, no. I just gave another side of the story. And I can't remember if I mentioned this earlier, but there were a couple of congressmen who said, really, there are people with another point of view. And they had no idea. I found that very hard to believe, but they've just had so many folks coming through lobbying, many of them Canadians, many of them elected officials and Canadian lobbyists, and they just hadn't even heard that there might be another point of view in Canada. So, we're trying to stand up and get the voices of all Canadians heard down there. Met with 3 senators, 2 congressmen met with the Natural Resources Defense Council. It was 28 hours, so we threw together as many meetings as we could, and we wanted to meet with folks who are leading the charge in the U.S. when it comes to green energy. So we did meet with, like I mentioned, the drafters of the Clean Energy Act in the U.S. So we wanted to talk to people who were of a like mind when it comes to the green energy future.
So you didn't talk to anyone?
I didn't, but I'd love to go back. And in fact, one of the senators offered to try and put some of those meetings together with us, and noted that he had not. Noted that he hadn't met with anybody recently who was giving another side.
Yeah. On a bit of a different topic,
Yeah.
What's your take on this whole Pam Martin tweet thing?
It's unfortunate, his choice of words. I don't agree with his choice of words. This can be a tough business. It can be pretty frustrating. And if you check out the tweets that came out about me heading down to Washington, I understand absolutely the frustration that he felt. But I don't agree with what the words he chose.
There are some people who believe that this whole story is being a little bit overblown. Do you agree with that?
You know what? We're human beings. We are human beings, and it's really difficult sometimes when you see people not challenging your ideas, not challenging a different point of view, but just talking trash. It's hard not to react to that, and I do think it's a bit overblown. I do hope that people understand that we are just people, and sometimes we react.
So do you want to say the controversy is bullshit?
Why don't you say it for me?
So basically the frustration's got the best of them?
Yeah, I mean, it can happen to any of us. And
what about the frustration in the House today? Economics for dummies, buying jets for dummies, it was back and forth.
Well, that's a very carefully crafted message from the Conservatives calling us treacherous and all of these bad words. They're trying to change the channel, right?
The NDP responded, why don't you buy jets for dummies?
Yeah, sure. So we responded with a little bit of friendly banter. I mean, we didn't resort to name calling, which is what the Conservatives are trying to do, because they're afraid of the fact that we are actually getting a good, positive, proactive message out there.